What's up, rock and rollers? Sorry I'm a few minutes late, but that allowed you to all gather and chat amongst yourselves. I've got to start off, I've got a variety of beverages here. First thing I've got is this, which is a coffee it's Americano with sparkling water. Sparkling Americano. I thought, why not? Let's give it a go. It's weird, but it's pretty good. It's got a little effervescent zing to it, little kick. So that's pretty good. So you probably like, well, why is he drinking coffee with doesn't he do like lattes and oat milk and all that all the time? Why is he doing that? Well, the other beverage that I've got here right now is this juice cocktail from Kroger, white cranberry peach. Are you starting to get a clue? Some of you older folks here might understand what's going on. Because that's breakfast. The other thing that I've got here is Gatorade, not red, but green. Why would I have that? There's a few of you guys that are laughing right now going, oh, you're in for a good day. Let's see if anybody's got it in the chat. Somebody says UTI. No, it's not that. It's not that. It's a little too much information, actually. But there you go. Tom Lind. A little too much information that you don't need to know. We don't need to get into details. But yeah, I'm getting the big the big colonoscopy tomorrow. Routine. And I thought I'd bring it up. I thought, do I need to bring that up? And then I thought, I do need to bring it up because it's a little PSA, a little public service announcement. Everybody that's my age should be getting it done. You know, there's the various guidelines and stuff like that. They actually downgraded upgraded, I guess, the guidelines to, I think, 45 now when guys should start. They used to be 50, and now they're saying a little bit earlier than that. But you're sort of supposed to go unless your doctor tells you different every 5 years or so, I think. And, yeah, I just think that, I'd bring it up. I thought I'd bring it up because it's like, it's just a good thing to go, and a little preventative, why not, right? See what's going on. Hopefully everything's good, and then you carry on with things. But if it's not good, then you, can catch things and proceed with knowledge and all that. And so, anyways, that's what I'm doing tomorrow. And so, yeah, I'm trying to just kind of bear with me here because I haven't had any food and I won't for the rest of the day. Trying to just put whatever in. For those who've never done one of these, you got to drink all like you're on a clear diet for a day, basically, ahead of time. Can't have anything with any red dye in it or purple dye or anything like that. And you can't have any solid food. So you try and drink things with a little bit of sugar in them, basically, or whatever, just to get you through the day, so your body doesn't completely freak out. And it's never fun, but then you get it over with, and yeah. Good PSA. It's not that bad. It's really not that bad. I mean, there's the you got to drink this stuff the night before, and then you just spend the whole evening in the bathroom, basically. It's really not that bad. It's like, that's the worst part. Then you go somewhere next morning, and they put you under. And if you ever have any problems eating food and feeling bloated and stuff like that, it's kind of great because you feel the day that you wake up to go do the thing, you might have a headache and stuff or whatever because you haven't eaten. Now it's time to go do the procedure, and you're like, God, I feel like, but you kind of feel great because you're actually like, well, I won't go into detail, but you know what I'm talking about. And it's really not that bad. Some people, they blow it out of proportion. I mean, I'd much rather go do this than, for instance, get a crown or something. That was the worst. I had to get a crown. I had a broken filling, and a few years back, man, I had a particularly rough go. Like, I needed 3 doses of Novocaine, and it was still just felt raw as hell. Like, it was like the worst. Like, it's like, that's not really touching the pain, man. It's really bad. And then it hurt for about 6 months after that on that side. So that sucked. The colonoscopy is a walk in the park compared to that. All right. What else we got here? Praxall says, when Such Vi come back out, will they play the full Crossroads scene with Eugene's trick bag? That would be really cool, actually. They could do it together. Trade off. Why not? So, I don't know that Steve's ever done that live. Yeah. The first coffee afterwards is glorious. You can have coffee. I mean, coffee and tea are cool, evidently. You just, can't, put anything in it. No cream or milk or anything or substitute. Nothing with any color. So that's why I'm doing just the raw Americano this morning, but with a little soda water. It's pretty good. What else? What else are we talking about here? Let's see. Saw you on Ola this morning. Yeah, so that was fun. I got together with Ola England in Tokyo, and we met at a pub called the Aldgate, and he was there just for a couple days playing with the Haunted. And I saw he was in town, and I got to go watch that actually because I haven't seen it yet, but I'll go watch his vlog. He pulled out the camera, and him and his buddies had been in the pub drinking some beers, and he's great. He's a lovely guy, super nice. I'm a big fan. I love his channel, and he's just a really nice person, I think, and does great work. He's funny, what's not to like, and so it was really great to see him there. I'd met him once before, but it was just briefly at NAMM. I think I mentioned that in the vlog. Just really a quick meeting. So this was cool. We got to sit and actually have a beer and stuff. It was nice. I'd forgotten to text him actually. Like I realized he was there. We kind of exchanged messages. He said, we're probably going to crash. I think this was on a Friday or something. And he said, I think we're going to crash because we just got into town. We're like super out of it. I was like, okay, I'll hit you up in the morning. Maybe we get coffee or something. I forgot to hit him up until about like 8 p.m. the following day at night. I was like, oh my God, I forgot to text you earlier. I'm so really sorry. Are you guys up? I thought they probably crashed out. And he's like, we're at a pub called the Aldgate. Come by. And I was like at a place that was only, it's funny. Like I know Shibuya or parts of Tokyo well enough where it was like, I know exactly where that is. And we're about 11-minute walk from there. I could be there really fast. And so I was with my friend Dennis. I was like, you want to leave here and go meet this guy, Ola? He's a really cool cat, guitar player, YouTuber. And he was like, okay. So we jetted. I was there in like 10 minutes and walked in, and there he was. And they had just doing last call. It was late. And so it just got, one beer or whatever, and was able to hang and film that little video. It was really fun. It was really fun. So great to see him there. It's always fun getting together with folks in Tokyo, like particularly Tokyo. I don't know. It's just cool. It's like, feels exotic, when people from other places in the world meet up in that place. So, and I had a few of those meetings. Chris Shiflett, that was really fun. Another great YouTuber. And then his side gig is also, of course, guitar in the Foo Fighters. But no, we got together and I went to the Foo show, and he took great care of me and my friend. It's really awesome. We were basically standing on the side of the stage. It was so fun. And watch their show. Yeah. What else are you guys talking about here? I'm gonna go back in the chat and see what you were talking about before I got here because I was a few minutes late. Let's see. The Jose's fun. Talking about Dave's Jose style amp. I gotta play one. Still haven't played it, so might try and do that over the next couple of days. Actually, rock one out a little bit. I kind of want it. Like I've got this Germino, which is great and has the mods, and Dave did it and everything. So I'm sure it's got a lot of similarities. But I sort of want his take on the perfect, version of that amplifier. And so maybe I'll sell this. Anybody interested in the Germino? It's great. It's awesome. 100 watt, headroom 100. If you're a nut for hand wiring, it's all that. I mean, it's Germinos are built like beautiful, right? So I'll have to take some pictures of it and stuff like that. But yeah, it basically started life as a plexi. This plexi panel on the front, it's plexi circuit, headroom 100 circuit. They're kind of it's got a little more filtering, I think, than a plexi would. That's just kind of how they do the headroom 100s. It's built for headroom, so it's like actually like got kind of a pretty robust like output and all that. Although it just sounded when I played it, I was almost reluctant to mod it because when I got it, it was like, this amp sounds great. It was just a great, tough, loud ass plexi, was what it was when I got it. And I was like, it sounds so good. Should I do this? And it was just basically like, all right, let's go, but it's great. And it works. It's like the control layout's like this. You've basically got the EQ here, that's standard. And then you got volume 1 and volume 2 from the standard sort of Marshall channels. Well, those are now masters. So it's got 2 masters, much like Dave's version of the Jose amp that he's built now. It's got the pre-EQ master and the post-EQ master. So this is the post-EQ master right here. And this is the pre-EQ master. And to get to this one, you have to pull this out. And what happens then is this becomes active and you just turn this way up. And then this one's in line and then you can use it. I think that's what you do. Got to remember. But anyway, pre-EQ, post-EQ master. They sound slightly different. You just pull one to activate the other one. And then it's basically you can get either sound. The post-EQ master is the most sort of natural sounding to me. It's got the most like Marshall mids, vintage kind of plexi roar thing. Turn on the pre-EQ master, get the post-EQ master out of the way and use the pre-EQ master. It's a little more metal sounding or something, a little more low, like a little more scooped sounding. And I think Dave thinks anyways that sorry, I'm just gonna check on something. A text from somebody. 1 second. Let me I gotta just see that. Okay. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. I'm just doing my live stream and I will hit you up directly after for sure. Thanks for bearing with me. What was I talking about? The masters. Yeah, so the pre-EQ master, thicker sound, more like the loudness button on a stereo. Like you ever push in the loudness button and you get the low end and the top end, and it's sort of meant to feel like the stereo's loud, right? That's what the pre-EQ master always sound like to me. A little more metal, a little more that kind of thing. So then the volume 1 and volume 2 will normally be here. They're over here now. That's these 2 pots. And this is the high treble input, volume 1, and this is volume 2. And they're internally gained, so with no gain loss. So you can blend both channels to your heart's content, do whatever you want to do without them. You don't need to use a jumper or any of that stuff like you would have to do on a plexi to blend volume 1 and volume 2. This is 1. This is 2. And this is the extra tube gain stage that's in front. So push it in. It's not active. You've basically got a plexi with a master, 2 masters at that point. Pull it out. This gain stage becomes active. You get the Jose thing. Really, this is the thing that people, Jose Marshall. It's this gain stage. There's other stuff too, but yeah. And then this kind of kicks into the front end of wherever you got volume 1 and volume 2 set, and you get your rock. Okay, the other thing that's on this amp is this push-pull right here turns on SAT, which is the saturation circuit that gives you it's Zener diode. It feels like distortion, but it's really a limiter on the power amp, and runs out of headroom, and then it does this distortion thing that sounds cool. It just flattens out the sound a little bit and it gets a little more like metal or something. So that's the Zener thing. That was kind of, I guess, Jose's way of trying to get a more gainy sound without adding yet another gain stage, because it's not a gain stage. It's a sort of a Zener diode limiting. So that's that amp. And other than that, there's no effect loop or anything like that. It's just straight up. But I may, over the next little while, if somebody wants to email me about it, my email, hit me up. And it's a cool amp. I really dig it. I just might want to go for Dave's version. Haven't decided 100% that I will sell it, but pretty sure that I will, just because get Dave's thing. Okay, so what else we got here? Let's see, what are you guys talking about? you seen Lauren? You texted me last week. Sorry I didn't text you back. I totally forgot I was going to do that. Have you seen Jen Mazura's new video, Music School Students Performances? She's really doing retirement great. I haven't actually seen that. I should check it out. She came out to a Satch Vi gig. And it was great to see her. Somewhere in Germany we were. Yep. Okay. I'm going to purchase your 2 Notes IR cab pack that was recorded at Sunset Sound. Is Genome worth downloading or stick to Wall of Sound? I like Genome better than Wall of Sound. Genome does more, and it's got the amp modeling in it, which is really quite good, their amp modeling. So you got that going. It's a little more streamlined. I'm not like, I love that, you know, what 2 Notes do and stuff like that. Never really like a huge fan of the Wall of Sound interface. You know, it's great. I mean, it works good. It's just a personal thing. A lot of other people might like it, but I like Genome more. And it's got more of just kind of like a row, like a typical kind of layout of the way that you would think a guitar rig is laid out or something. I don't know. It's just something about it that I like, and it makes more sense to me. You know, they're a few years down the road too, the design and all that, so it makes sense that it would be a little more sophisticated or something. But I like Genome, so give it a go. And I love my IR still. You know, yeah, they're great. I think they did a great job on them, and they, you know, I think it's a unique enough cab pack that there's not a lot of other folks out there that have something that sounds, you know, that black back vintage thing, and even the open back blue cabinet is really nice, I think, for Voxy sounds. And there's sort of not as many of those out there either, like a, you know, good for your AC30 kind of stuff. So, yeah, I was messing around with, you can't see it because this is in front of the Stu's message here, but right over here, this Bad Cat that I've got, I was playing through that yesterday, the Era 30. I've been using it a little bit. It is just a great amp to have around here for that AC30 thing. You know, as usual, the EF86 channel, it's got an EF86 and a 12AX7 channel, both great. The EF86 probably won't use as much, you know. It's a cool sound, but it's just not ever, in the divided by 13s I had that had a pentode channel, I never really used it that much. Kind of neat to have, but I always found myself on the 12AX7 channel, either on my RSA 31 or on my FTR 37. Same thing with this amp. I mean, I find myself just gravitate towards that, some anywhere from 2 to, you know, 8 on the volume on the 12AX7 channel for an AC30. Just fantastic. You know, it just does that thing. It's got life. It's got sparkle. You know, you put it on 2 with the master way up high, it's a clean sound that's just juicy with nice sparkle, nice harmonics, and like life to it, like a lot of life to it. That just, you know, put a pedal in front or a compressor or something, a little bit of delay or whatever you want. It's got just this great sound that feels great to play through. Turn it up and the distortion's great. You know, it's get anywhere from, you know, yeah, Tom Petty-ish stuff through to, you know, and just nice kind of clean stuff through to you know, your I don't know, all the people that use AC30s, you know, got that Bryan Adams thing going on, that sound from It's Only Love, whatever, you know. I always loved that guitar part. Why did I pick that? I don't know, but I was thinking about that song the other day. Keith Scott, Bryan Adams, just that great rock and roll guitar sound. That's just, you know, cool. What else? How many EVH guitars do I have? Well, I have I have one right here. There's one in the I was playing this one yesterday and just having some fun with it. So I love this thing, man. It's great. It's I lowered the action, so it's super low right now. So it's just for like ease of play and up high. And I was working on a little bit of Eruption stuff yesterday because I still revisit that sometimes. And it's fun to go back and listen to Eruption and go, did I get anything wrong? And I always got something wrong that, you know, even going back to that lesson I did years ago. One of the things that I got wrong on it was the, you know, that lick, which I showed it like that and that's the right notes, but that's not the way that Eddie played them. It goes, that's how he played it, which is, you do the hammer on pull-off thing on the second string. Then you actually just ghost hammer on the 8th fret on the 3rd string, and then to hit the E note again, okay, so that's the E flat, and then you go to the E, you pick the high E string open, and then pull off without picking again, 8, 5, 0, right, on the 2nd string, hammer onto the E flat again on the 3rd string, pick the top string, and that's the only thing you do is you pick the top string, and the rest is hammers and pulls. So that's how he did it. And with a lot of gain, you know, you're hammering on that 3rd string, it pops out, so he's only just picking the top string, just upstrokes, like that, right? And so that I got wrong, you know, and I was revisiting that and just listening to it. There was that big dump a while ago that ended up on the internet of material that came out that was like, where did this come from? But somebody sent it all to me. the you know, bunch of like unreleased mixes, alternate takes. And one of the things that's in there is the dry eruption track with no echo or a reverb or anything like that added. So you can put it in a phrase trainer and listen to it and really like hear every single articulation really clearly. And so it's kind of fun to take it down to 30% speed in transcribe software and just listen at every single note. And that was something that I was doing yesterday. So that's one of the things I got wrong. One of the other things that I got wrong in it was the so when you're doing the, you know, the tapping, he leads with shifting down the tapped note with each one of those descending phrases. Does that make sense? So I don't know if you can even hear it right now very well, but what I'm saying is when you're doing this descending thing, so you lead by descending with the yeah, I hope that makes sense. I used to do it like this, like for years. When it's actually supposed to be. And then like that. Little fit, like one note in every little phrase, I was off, you know? I'm still learning, you know? I'm still learning. Yeah. It's crazy. But that's the guitar's a journey, and that's just the way it goes. He never played it the same way twice. There's a whole buttload of super chats coming in, so I better move to the bottom of the chat and get on some of those. Thank you guys so much. Jeez. Wow. This is gonna keep me in coffee for a while. Thanks for doing these every week. Something to look forward to. Love you, brother. Thanks, man. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate that. And thanks for the super chat. I love it. I still love doing this every week. I wouldn't miss it. It's really fun. I get up in the morning on Sunday, have some coffee, get ready to, you know, go about the day, and then I just get excited to come over here and do this. Actually, really, really enjoy it. It's become such a fun routine. I'm kind of like a little bit of a creature of habit. I don't know about you guys, but you know, I like routines. It makes me feel a little more grounded. Maybe it's part of just like touring a lot too. Lately, I've been feeling a little, just like to be honest, a little ungrounded. Probably just the natural result of spending the whole year traveling. You know, I've only been to the grocery store to buy. You know, when you get to the grocery store, you're like, well, I better not do a big shop because I got to go away. So I better just do get a basket, you know, and get like enough for the week or enough for a few days. That's what I've done all year. I don't think maybe I mark like when I'm home for a while by going to the grocery store and getting the big basket. You're going to fill it up with food for the next 3 weeks or a month or whatever, you know, a couple weeks at least. I haven't done that all year. You know, I get home and then so anyways, I've been feeling a little ungrounded, I think, because I'm like, where's home all of a sudden? Just the natural result of it, you know, it's all good, but maybe things like this is all I'm saying, the little bit of the routine that it gives me grounds me a little bit. So thanks again for saying, man, I love doing it. Sergio, there with the super chat, says, thinking of buying your red Suhr HH. Still one of my favorite guitars. If an A or low E breaks, does the bridge snap back and cause damage on the finish? No. I wouldn't. I don't think if you broke a big string, it would even touch the body. You might. I mean, I have mine floating, and I float it a little forward, actually, because I set my guitars up. This is just me. I don't know about you guys, but with tremolo bridges, I like to be able to generally pull up. Here's one here. You can see that it's just a little forward, the bridge. It's not totally like sort of perpendicular with the body. It's going forward a little bit. And the reason is, and we'll see how close this one is right now, but I like to be able to pull up on the G string. Yeah, a whole step. That's perfect. And a half step on the B. Almost translates, right? So when you set up the bridge just a little bit forward, I'll sit there and I'll tune it in the back to, look at what's approximately a whole step on the G becomes about approximately, it just kind of works out that way, approximately a half step on the B. I just like that. That's it makes it a predictable thing where I know I can pull up a hole on the G and do a little like thing with that. So that's why I set up mine. Now, if you broke an E or an A string, it'll go back for sure, but I don't think it'll go back and hit the body. But I understand OCD is it's a whole thing. I've got a little bit of experience with that, not myself, but with other people that I know. And here's the other thing about Suhr finishes. They're really tough. So like my red one, I do actually have a little nick in this will drive you crazy, but you can see a little nick in the binding right here. See that? I somehow did that on the road, chipped it, but that takes a hell of a lot of force on a Suhr finish. If you look at the back of this guitar, I mean, there's barely any. Can you see that? Like in the light, there's barely any belt marks. I've played so many gigs on this guitar, and it just doesn't scratch. It's like, I mean, there's a few, but what is on there, you could get out with a buffer wheel, and it would look brand new. It's amazing, these finishes that Suhr does. They're like super durable, like they're urethane finishes. So this guitar, still absolutely one of my favorite instruments to play around here. It's just a really, really great guitar. I recommended actually to a guy this week that he was saying, I want to get one of your guitars. He sent me an email and said, I want to get one of your guitars, but I'm not sure whether to get the SSH or the double humbucker one. I think he's already got a Strat, and he said, but I really want something that's got a true humbucker neck pickup sound, but I still love getting the single coil sound in the neck. Will it do that thing credibly? And I said, you know what? I said, you're not going to get a true humbucker sound out of the SSH model, or the HSS, whatever it is, humbucker single model. It's a single in the neck, so it's going to always be that sound. But this one actually gets that credible, for those that have tried one. The neck pickup tapped does a really, really nice single coil thing, which is the all the way up position. That's the tapped. That's the way I do the switch on these. And then the next one is full humbucking on this one. And yeah, if you got to have one guitar to cover a ton of ground, this is what I use, actually. I use my blue one that I've got over here, but on the Fight for Fighting gig, I've decided that this is the guitar because I can cover so much ground with it, different tones and stuff. So I recommended that he go the double humbucker version. Anyways, if you get one, I hope you really like it. I love this thing. Saw your signature guitar with the tops cut out of the humbucker cover. Great idea. I like the cover side for finger anchoring, but the top cut out for tone. Was that your thinking? Actually, to be honest, like we use the nickel covers on these, and the nickel covers are so transparent sounding that it's almost like having no cover. We've done some tests and stuff, and I find they don't really affect a true pure nickel cover will barely affect the tone. So we could have just gone this way with it. It was purely aesthetic. I just liked the look of those. It kind of made it look a little bit like a Filtertron to me. And I thought that's a cool look. And we just did the window. It was a little bit of an extra, Originally when we did the HSS model, we put a covered pickup in the bridge, and there was no ring, and it looked like there wasn't enough going on the guitar to me, and I really pushed. John wasn't totally into the idea, and then he came around to it and got on board. But I pushed it. I'm like, let's put a ring on it, and he hates that idea. And then he was like, all right, it looks pretty cool, because I think originally, the Suhrs. My guitar was the first Suhrs with rings, because they don't do rings normally, and they don't need to. They can just do it. But I thought I want something that looks different and distinct, and that's why I did the ring. It was really about the cosmetics, and also just because I grew up looking at the kind of Charvels and Jacksons in the mid 80s and stuff, and they had rings. My Jackson had rings on it, and I thought that's cool. I want to bring that back a little bit in my signature guitar, is just that look, and it'll definitely make my guitar in the Suhr line look unique, because they don't do rings on anything else. And so we did it. So then on the HSS we did the ring, and then I thought, okay, what now if we what else can we do? And I don't even know if it was me. I don't think I suggested it. I think it was like Justin or John said. I think it was John. He said, could try a window cover on the pickup, and I was like, what's that? And then he showed me, and I was like, oh, that's probably going to look great. And we put it in, and it was just a no-brainer. It looks so cool. So, yeah. Yeah. All right. I got to hit these other super chats. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that in just a second. I'm just moving through the comments here. Thanks. I'm thinking ABY. Oh, you guys are talking amongst yourselves. Oh, no, you're not talking to me. Pete Thorn. Thanks. I'm thinking ABY pedal split 1 amp to interface genome. This is when we were talking about 2 notes. Yeah, that's cool. It's all about unique. Guitar rigs are like snowflakes. No two are the same. Let's see. I found a robot Les Paul. Remember those kids that I snagged for $7.99? It was pretty much new old stock. I've yanked all the guts and tuners out of it and going to load all the new stuff on it this week. That's cool. It's a unique neck on that guitar. It's got that wide neck, but that could be your thing. You can make that your thing. They needed the neck to be a certain width because of that crazy tuning nut setup, I think. But yeah. Okay, Braxall's setting up a new computer. He says it's a pain setting it up. I feel that pain. I know it's always a nightmare. Genome released a new version for download, actually. Some new guitar pedal effects were added. That's cool. Good to know. Genome, once again, is the 2 Notes software. That is it's like it's a full modeling software, really, but you can also just use it to host their Dyne IR cab sims, like mine, if you want to try mine, and also add some effects. It's got nice delays and reverbs and stuff in it that you can use. So it's a versatile plugin that you can utilize in a number of different ways. Check it out. Ed had such strong hands, that his hammer-on sounded like they were picked. Yeah, he did. He had a really strong left hand, fast left hand. Something I've always struggled with. Like trilling, it's not that fast for me. I have to sit and literally that's about all I got as far as if I'm not warmed up. I can get a little quicker than that, but some guys are just like it's like a just like lightning speed trills, and I've just never had that quick touch thing. You know what I mean? Or quick twitch, whatever they call it, fast twitch muscles or something like that. I have to work at it, and really practice it every day. Yeah. Braxall says, how can Pete play something wrong? Oh, it happens all the time. Yeah. Let's see. What else? I'll grab this other. There's that big old super chat. Jeff, thank you, man. This is tomorrow. For tomorrow after your procedure, take Brett out for dinner. That's really nice of you, dude. That's really, really kind. I will do that, actually. That is exactly what I'll do. I'll you know what? I'm going to take a picture of the screen so that I can show her that later, because it's really thoughtful of you. Thank you so much. Yeah, the post-procedure thing, you're like, what should I go eat now? It's like it's definitely a thing. You know, it's exciting. I've had 2 of them before in the past, so this will be the 3rd round. So yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Really, really nice of you. Yeah. Lauren says, I saw a YouTube short with Wolf Van Halen on how he likes tapping and the 2 main styles. Yeah, he was talking about the kind of the different, like, you know, the couple different approaches that Eddie had, or the like the eruption tapping or the hot for teacher tapping, I guess. I guess that's true. Like, I mean, he had the kind of like, can't remember if that's what Wolf meant, but where he was going, or, you know, the, you know, like more the, you know, the triplet thing. Yeah. Different licks. He had one of my favorite tapping licks from Eddie Van Halen is actually the "You're No Good," the that stuff where he goes, you know, he I guess that's triplet tapping, so that's kind of like the eruption, you know, where he triplet taps across all the strings, you know. The jump one is really weird. The jump tapping lick is another one that, you know, he goes something like that, you know. I always fudge it a little bit when I play it, but if you play it fast enough, it doesn't really matter. Like that, you know. But you're basically it's a really weird lick where you're going up and down on the E string, which is kind of like the hot for teacher thing, but so you actually lead with this by tapping across with your, where you hammer on with your left hand, tap, pull off to the lowest note. So hammer on the G string, hammer on over here. That's like such a strange, you know, like that. And that's the jump tapping. Like, interesting. Okay, I'm gonna put the guitar down now. I'm not tempted to riff while I'm supposed to be listening or reading or whatever. Sorry, I'm a little delirious right now. I better have more Gatorade. I feel a little like lightheaded, and because I haven't eaten breakfast, and I don't do well with no food. I'm a delicate flower. Okay. E-Bar says, all the ghost notes. That's what I love about Eddie. Notes were sometimes out of nowhere, but worked. Yeah, his unique phrasing, and just kind of like, he had a big bag of tricks. He had a lot of licks that he would kind of fall back on, but they all flowed like really naturally. You know, like, because some of it was worked out, but it was sort of improvised and worked out at the same time. He'd like pull it out. Let's go to this one. Let's go to this one. And then we'll go to this vibe, and then to this vibe. And it was all very fiery and never too, like, it's just this weird combination of, it's not slop. It's like sauce or something, like in his playing, and then perfection as well, you know, because you can hear it when you slow stuff down. It's really wild to listen to the, you know, how kind of imperfect it can be, or notes that don't pop, or how, you know, even those descending tapping phrases, you know, they're not all the same, like robotic, like, you know, this group of notes, then this group of notes, then this, it gets switched up, and sometimes he does things 5 times instead of 4 or whatever, and it's all that magic that just, but it all fit and sounded really cool. So yeah. Todd says, I love that Wolfgang hasn't shied away from tapping. He kind of doesn't shy away from anything. I think Wolfgang kind of does exactly what he wants to do, you know, musically, songwriting wise, production wise. You know, he does what he wants. He does the music that he wants in the style that he wants, I guess, you know. I hope, my one wish that Wolfgang would do, I will say this, is I hope that he tracks with his band. And I don't know if he did that on this new record. I actually haven't seen any interviews or anything, but I'm pretty sure he's got his way of doing things, which is he plays everything. He's unbelievable at it. I mean, he's an incredible musician. You know, drums, guitar, vocal, triple threat, you know, obviously. Bass. He can play it all and he can do it all. But I think that no matter what, this is my only thing, I'm just putting it out there. I think no matter what, if you do it all and you always do it all the time, then it kind of sounds like you doing it all, which we know he can do, and he's done it, and it's amazing. It's great. He's unbelievable at it. But that chemistry between people of like, what would other people, and you hear that a little bit when you hear his songs performed live. Like, even if you just watch, he's just puts out a record and he goes on late night TV and does a performance or whatever. And it's got that band vibe, a little bit of the sauce that, John and the other guys in his band put into it. It doesn't sound quite the same as the record, because it's got that everybody's a little different and all that. So that's all. I hope he does that at some point, where the band gets in there, and or with another band or whatever, like where I'd love to hear Wolfgang actually collaborate with other artists, and play guitar and or sing, in a group with some other. Like, wouldn't it be interesting to hear Wolfgang with like Ian Thorn lead or something, or Dave Grohl, or like anybody, like just some where he's in a context doing a thing, almost like when them Crooked Vultures sort of. I love super groups. I liked the freedom of when people in the 70s, late 60s, 70s, even into the 80s would do records or one-offs, or sometimes it would become a band, Asia, or these different groups that people would put together, would be a combination of players from different groups. What's another example of that? I can't think of one right now. But I just like that vibe, It's almost like what happened with Yes, the new Yes, when they got Trevor Rabin. It was like going to be, weren't they going to call it Cinema or something? And then it's like, well, let's just call it Yes. But almost like was another band. Let's take people from here and put them with people from here and put them, everybody get together, Like, I wish Paul McCartney would actually do a record. I've been thinking about this, a record with Beck, where they're like equal billing, because I love Beck and I like his songwriting and what he does. And I'd love to see the two of those guys make a record together where they're feeding, like a chemistry that, that we haven't really seen from Paul since, John, like that, where there's another person there. Maybe he worked with, did he do something with Elvis Costello at some point? And he did duets with Michael Jackson and stuff, of course, but like almost like a band where McCartney's in a band, it'd be interesting, I think. Or maybe McCartney just joins the Rolling Stones as bass player for like an album and tour cycle or something, and they write together, and he sings with Mick. Like, wouldn't that be cool? That'd be so cool. Do it. Pete Martin, thank you for your super chat. I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. Yeah. New Mammoth sounds good, says Tom. Awesome. I only heard the single. I should go listen to more of it. Have you fallen out of love with your Gil Yerin? No. I really love it. Do I prefer it to my 335? No, it's just different. They're two very different guitars. A 335 to me, once they grow on you, they do something that no Les Paul will do, which is the air around the note. Each note has this hollow air around it that's beautiful, and they've just got a really cool voice and a lot of personality, and it's something to do with they're different. I think the maple block or whatever, however they're built, and it's not a Les Paul. It's just like a different thing, and it's a great thing for a two humbucker thing. It's like really, 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 if anybody out there has a 335 or a variant, even like the Ibanez Artists or whatever they were called, or the Schofield model. Is that what they were called? The Artist was a different guitar, or some sort of variety, of hollow body. It's a neat thing. The Yerin blows me away every time I play it. I'm always like, why don't I play this guitar more? Because I haven't used it on tour much. The one thing about it is it does have slightly microphonic pickups because they're not potted. Gil makes them just like they were back in the day. So when I've taken it on tour and used it, especially on a louder stage, it's a little bit of a bear, because you got it when the volume's on 10 and you go to solo, that pickup will squeal, the bridge pickup. It's not bad though. It's just like I combat it by just having the volume down around 9. It's like you can just back the volume down a hair on the pickup and then it doesn't squeal. Turn it up all the way and then it's wide open and you hit a clon in front of the PT100 or something that does a little bit of a thing. It's little narnar. But it's got a great sound because of that. I mean, I believe there's something to the non-potted pickups. Like, no, there's no free lunch. It's like the non-potted thing, wide open. They're like a microphone. They do have this like air around them. Once again, air. I use the term air, but it's different than the 335 air around the note. But you know what I'm talking about. When you can shout in a pickup and it comes clearly through the amp, they've got this personality that, right, that just, it's like they're not dampened at all. They're just wild sounding. So the urine has that, and I love that guitar. But sometimes I just put things aside for a little while. Like my old Strat I played in the recent video. I should talk about that video a little bit. I put out a video this week for the Venus pedal from Crazy Tube Circuits, and I play my old Strat in that. That purposely, I was like, I gotta play this guitar. Like I don't play it enough, so I used it to record the track and did some tones in that. And I love the tremolo on my old Strat. Talk about a great feeling vintage tremolo that really actually stays in tune quite well. The old original bridge on that and the way that I've got it, it's kind of angled, and the feel of the bar and everything's really nice. Yeah. Okay. Todd doesn't like the OCD. I thought you meant the OCD pedal from. No, OCD is awful. Yeah, I know what you mean. Come along with mine, but I still need volume levels to be even and not odd numbers. That's interesting. The brain is an amazing thing. Yeah, OCD is a very real. I feel like I've got a little bit of that in my family, and I did hopefully interestingly, just real quick, I did a benefit in New York City once. That was there was a woman that I don't remember. It was like she was a major high up executive or owner or something. It's a long time ago. It's 15 years ago, but of like maybe Neiman Marcus or something like that, like a major department store chain. Obviously a well-to-do, powerful person. She had I believe a son, if I remember correctly, that had unfortunately, very sadly, taken his own life, and he had OCD. And she wanted to give back and try, and she realized how devastating that illness can be, like what a real thing it actually is. And she started a charity basically to raise money for awareness and to do research. And I sat at a table. So I played at this event. I was with a guy named Ace Young, who was a American Idol guy that had some notoriety back then because he'd just been on a recent season and done well. And we went and performed. They had a few people sit and play songs and stuff like that. And during the dinner, it was a great big ballroom dinner thing held in New York. And I went to this thing, and I found it just fascinating because of my, everybody knows somebody with OCD, it seems. And I sat at a table, not making this up, with Dionne Warwick sitting right beside me. I had dinner with Dionne Warwick, and who had something to do with this. I don't know if she had OCD or she had somebody that she was close to, but she was a part of the, really believed in this this event and the foundation this woman formed. And I sat with a guy as well that was a leading researcher at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, I think. And he was fascinating, and talked to him for a good long while about OCD, and I found it really interesting. So, but I'm glad I got to go to it. It's one of those strange peripheral things. Like music takes you some interesting places. You find yourself in some interesting rooms with some interesting people, and that was one of those events that I always remember. When would I ever have a chance to have dinner with those people? Dionne Warwick and a leading researcher into OCD at the same dinner table. It was really interesting. All right. What else? I've got more super chats to hit. I know I do. This is a great question. Does your HH guitar have the same neck profile as your HSS? No, it doesn't. It's got the even C slim neck profile on the HH, and the HSS has it's a slightly wider nut and a distinct neck profile that is sort of original to only the rest of my signature guitar line. I have contemplated changing that to the HH model, to just making the neck consistent all the way across the line and going with the completely, kind of unique neck shape for the HH as well. Just haven't changed it yet. It might be something that I consider doing. What do you guys think? Should I? I mean, is there some of you out there that have an opinion on that have played both? Or should I just leave that one alone? because I've always liked both necks. So, what's your favorite Vi 7-string riff? I mean, I loved the songs that we did. Zeus in Chains in particular was really a great 7-string song. Steve, doesn't shy away from playing full chord voicings using the 7 strings, which is a lot of people will just do the low chugga chugga stuff and play it, doing the simple sort of root fifths or root fifth 9 or whatever, maybe the low strings, but without a lot of the Steve just full on. I mean, there'll be like a minor 9 or intervals in there and stuff like that. Whereas with full distortion, he's just like, and he's so musical that he makes it work. He does one chord to the next, makes totals. There's this one part of Zeus and Chains right before the big heavy that part that is ascending chords with Steve soloing on top. And I'm playing these voicings that you're like, wow, like it's so bold to play these dissonant voicings against one another, but the voice leading of each chord into one another makes total sense. And that's, because he's a musical genius. So it's a fun one to check out. There's some good transcriptions of it online as well that you can find. So check out Zeus and Chains. That's what I would say. It's a epic ride. You can learn Steve's main melody, and the solos and everything else are really fun, but the melody is great. The last chorus, it's like that song is like it's kind of relentless. I play the heavy part, I do the chords on, and then we go into the breakdown kind of solo section with the long bent notes and stuff like that. And I come back in with a heavy thing under Steve that is just root fifth stuff. But then we go into a harmony solo, which is like, dream come true. I get to harmonize with one of my heroes, playing this harmony solo together. And then I come right out of that into this vicious riff that's like locked with the bass. And it's weird. It never repeats itself the same way twice. I have to practice that all the time to not forget it and to be able to play it tight. So that's really fun. Coming straight out of that riff, which Steve is soloing over, we go into the melody again of the song. He's down the octave, and I play it exactly like him up an octave, doubled. It's terrifying in a way. You know what I mean? Like, because you're just like, I have to get this. But the feeling of accomplishment when you get to the end of the song every night was like, oh, man, like, I almost never made a mistake on it, I feel like. One night, I missed one chord of the... when I was doing the double at the end where I just had a brain fart or whatever, but it's really satisfying to play. So check out that song. It's a sort of 7-string extravaganza, I think. Okay, here's a super chat. So I saw, get tested, just got prostate cancer, operated 3 weeks ago. PSA test found it earlier this year. That's good. I should probably get one of those. Had absolutely no symptoms thanks to the PSA test for finding it. I should totally do one of those as well, a PSA, and just check. I think I'm sort of on the young side to worry about it, but maybe not. It might be a good thing for me to go get looked at. I don't know what the guidelines are. I should ask my doctor about that. Getting to that age where all these things become a concern. Delicious. Gatorade. This does help. It's a little sugar. It's going to be a rough day, but it's all right. Let's see. Any recommendations for a good jumping off point for Holdsworth? Man, I'm not the guy. What do you guys think? What's a good record that you recommend? Already have the Blue HSS. Thanks again for that super chat there, Kleber P. Appreciate that. Sergio, another super chat. I already have the Blue HSS. My tech made a scratch when he got off all the strings with the springs attached. How do you handle scratches? I just kind of don't worry about them. I know it's a drag, but you could get a little paint pen or something and try and fix them, but I just kind of don't worry about them. It's part of the personality of the guitar. It's sort of a shit happens thing. It is what it is, Yeah. Unfortunately, the black plastic around the pickups on the Suhr PT Sig have a tendency to break at the thin parts. So the black plastic. Do you mean like the ring? I've never had that happen with one of mine. Anyway, hit them up and they'll hook you up with new plastic. I'm sure that's just something simple for them to, just start a CS like the letter C, letter S at Suhr.com, and they'll hook you up with new. Just send them a photo or something. I'm sure they can fix that easily. But yeah, I've never had a ring break or anything. Not any of mine. Wonder if there are any sound clips of your Modern 7. Getting one for a project that starts next year, along with an additional Modern. I did some videos with it. I did I think maybe the Mesa video I did for the 2C++. Didn't I use that guitar? I think. It's a video about, if you go back about 8 demo videos or something, you'll see that I think it's in there. And I used it in a couple others. Just do a little searching back through recent videos I've done and stuff, maybe going back for the last 6 months, and I think you'll find a couple where I'm playing that guitar. It's a great sounding guitar. Yeah. Yeah. Moving through the chat. Sergio said, "That's nice of you. Admire you more than words can say. You're an incredible person. Meeting you one day would mean the world." I hope to meet you as well, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I'm pretty accessible if you see me. Sometimes people say, "I think I saw you the other day, but I didn't want to bother you." I'm always like, "Come up and say hi," because I like to meet people. I'm lonely. Yeah. Is that your 7 string behind your right shoulder? Yeah, it is. That's it right there. There it is. Got no backplate. I didn't order one on it. I always worry about that sometimes. Like, what if my belt gets caught on a spring and pulls it out in the gig? The tuning goes insane, but it's never happened. Anyway, there it is. It's beautiful. Love it. They made it in short order, and it's probably all the 7 string I'll ever need. Beautiful fingerboard on it. It's got a nice, dark, giant ass piece of rosewood. Yeah. Yeah. What else we got here? Wolf was in Tremonti for a while. That's true. Didn't he play drums? That's cool. Yeah. I like that. Okay. Super chat from Pete. Thanks, Pete. What are your thoughts on G&L closing down? Such a shame. Do you have any G&L guitars? I have 4 in my collection. I think they made really good guitars. I never got one. I've never I've played them a little bit, but it's always been in a shop or at an AM show or something. They seemed really good. G&L stands for George and Leo, of course. It's a tough go. I mean, I think that maybe since Jerry Cantrell, they didn't really have like an endorser or something that was, maybe they needed a person or something to be like a John Mayer level of somebody that, could move some guitars or to build the interest, Maybe Heritage has a little similar, like they need, like some people playing their stuff, or those companies that obviously make good guitars, good American made guitars, but just need to kind of help spread the word or something. Yeah. Did I miss a super chat from 6 String Stinger? Sorry if I did. Looks like maybe I did. I'm not sure. Sorry if just ask in the chat again. I'll hit you there. I hope I didn't miss it. Beck's Mutations 2002 is a damn masterpiece, and you clearly hear some of the Morning Phase vibe. Yeah. I'm a big fan. I mean, the Morning Phase is one of the most beautiful records I think ever made. I really do. I'll say that without any reservation. Such a beautiful record. If you haven't listened to it and you're like that sort of, it just has this great California, beautiful, soulful, rootsy. There's a bit of, like you just hear in the harmonies and everything, the Beach Boys kind of thing, and the string arrangements are gorgeous, done by Beck's father. It's a beautiful record. So I'd just love to hear him collaborate with McCartney, and I know they're friends, so it's like, make a record together, you guys. Do a whole album as a band with other great people. Get a few other people on board. How about David Gilmour on guitar? I'm just saying. Why not? Yeah. Okay. Todd says that said the OCD is a good overdrive. I think it is a good overdrive. It's interesting. There's 4 different versions of it, I think. Version 1, 2, 3, 4, the circuit evolution. They all do sound different. I went down a rabbit hole because I had 3 of them. And I was like trying the different ones and going, can I hear the difference in all these? And I kind of could. I don't remember what I ended up liking. Maybe I liked the version 3 the most or something. As I remember. The reason I'm buying your cabinet IR pack, says Stu, all the speakers are my favorite. Scumbag M75s, I like those too, obviously. Old greenbacks, older V30s, and the one speaker missing is a PQ10 Jensen. I think there's quite a few IRs out there with those featured. Like, I know there's Ownhammer. God. Old brain. Ownhammer IRs. Yeah, they may have some PQ10s for sure. If you want to get some. Yep. Paul says I have unpotted antiquities and throwbacks and Electricity 59s unpotted. Yeah. Dionne Warwick, that's pretty impressive. Yeah, she sat right beside me, right to my right. She was very nice. Classy lady. Yep. Mark says it was cool to see you hang out with Ola. Does this mean you'll be playing with him in the future? That would be cool. We're pretty different stylistically, but I love the way he plays. I can't really play like him. I mean, that kind of aggressive right hand rhythmic, awesome stuff that he does. But I'd love to try doing something with him musically. That'd be fun. I just want to hang out with him because he seems like I just want to be friends. He's a cool guy. Yeah. I'm a fan. I mean, total. I love his YouTube channel. He's obviously really smart, hard worker. What's not to like? Does great videos, funny, high functioning. Yeah. Moving through the chat. Let's see. What else are we talking about here? Braxall says I should be happy I have my hair. I am. I didn't get up and leave, and I'm pretty stoked about that. We're all moving on in age, but you're right. Still got that going. Let's see. Favorite drop D song? How about Dogman? Unchained. Unchained's pretty badass. Dogman, pretty badass. I could pick a lot of King's X. Nobody writes riffs like Ty, like drop G. The way Ty jumps on Dogman between the upper strings and the low strings that's the art form of drop D to me. Is like not just playing the low chords, but the way you punch and articulate with upper stuff, which is kind of Unchained too, definitely, jumping around between the high stuff and then the low stuff gives you this thing that a lot of people, they just hammer away on the low strings, missing half the magic. Another great one is Lost in Germany by King's X. That's a great, it's the art of the voice leading of the chords and stuff that's happening and then dropping down to the low is really cool. Which EMGs are in your EMG guitar? They're just a standard SA and is in an 81, the basic bridge pick. It's not the hot one. I think the hot one's the 85. It's an 81, or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's the 85, but it's the one that's more like a PAF output. And then standard SAs. I saw a Rhett's video this morning where he took a John Mayer Strat and actually put an EMG preloaded pickguard in it. And he was really having fun with it. Kind of the same way I felt. He was like, wait a minute, this is amazing. Like, it's really fun. He got the mid boost and the expander circuit in there and everything. I don't have any of that. So mine's just a volume and a tone, SA, and a humbucker in the bridge. And it's really cool. And I think they sound really good. It's got a thing, and it's a good thing, I think. And I don't hear it as sterile. I just hear it as articulate. And it's got a nice, like, soul to it, even though they're kind of hi-fi and clear and all that. I quite like them. It's just another tool in the arsenal. There's a super chat from Arthur. What's up? Showing support. Yo, thank you, man. I do have one more question. What do you consider to be the ultimate pickups for a 335? I would go with, something that just my experience, something that really speaks and is open. And so be that, something of the PAF variety. I think Thorn Buckers would go great in one. But that strength of pickup, not above 9K on the bridge, probably like 8.2, 3 something in the bridge, 4, and then a high 7.8 or something in the neck, something like that. Maybe unpotted. I mean, antiquities probably work great. Throwbacks, the rewinds, like, something that's just got an old school PAF, because part of the magic is the open, the guitar kind of like almost like the acoustic quality of the guitar coming through. That's that air around every note that I was talking about. And maybe you lose that the hotter you get, so I don't see a lot of people putting hot pickups in 335s, and probably a reason for that, kind of unnecessary or something. But yeah, that's my recommendation. Thank you so much for the super chat there, Arthur. I appreciate that very much. Currently using Starlight Fuzz. Yes. What would be a couple other options that work after a buffer? Anything Big Muff. I have a nice what is it? It's good sounding Big Muff variant. I saw it down here the other day. Ryra. This is the Rock Your Repaired amp. Kind of this is their version of the Russian 90s era Big Muff. Sounds really good. I've used this for Gilmore stuff with Classic Rock Show. That's a nice one. The Suhr Rufus. Any variant. There's a couple different ones. Those will work. Anything Boss will work. The gray Boss, good solid options, yeah. Those are ones that come to mind. Sad about G&L, but they just weren't selling guitars. Yeah, I just think, there's a little bit of if you have a well, why would I get this over a Strat? It would have to be because we're Telly, it would have to be for really specific reasons. And I think with, companies like Suhr out there, like all the competition for that style of guitar, and then you've got signature artists and endorsees and everybody raving about things and stuff. If you just have a lack of that going on, not for any reason other than maybe just circumstances of, like they just didn't have anybody since Jerry that I can think of that was an endorser. Like the Jerry Cantrell guitar is super cool. The blue dress guitar and all that. But they needed someone else, like a John Mayer level, or artist, somebody to yeah. Anyways, what else we got here? Let's see. Moving through the chat. I'm from Italy. Will you come here? I was just there, actually. I've been there quite a bit over the last few years. I did 2 or 3 shows there, maybe 4 shows, 3 shows at least with Satch Vai a few months ago, which was just a blast. A great time. And then I was also there not even a year before that to do a really fun week at IK Multimedia. I wasn't playing live, but I went to the IKEA offices and we did a little video with my new friend Tora from Norway, and some other really fun folks. We were all at the IK office and we played one of her songs. And if you haven't seen that video, it's kind of fun, but look up IK Multimedia, Pete Thorn, Tora Da, you'll find it. It'll pop up. But we did this song of hers where we each had to find a part and we were using the Tonex for our guitar sounds. So it was 7 guitar players, I think, or 5 or 6. I don't know. There was at least 5 of us, not more than 7. And we each found a unique part to play with a unique sound. And it actually worked. Like, to put that many people in a room together, all from different places, different styles and everything, learn a song in a day, come in the next day and actually perform it. We did probably like 5 takes or something like that, and went with one that just worked. And everybody found their little part, their little zone, you know, all these different guitar players. And we did I feel like a really, really, really nice version of her song. If you haven't seen it, I think it's a video that deserves to be seen. It's a fun one. So check it out on the IK site. And it's a nice showcase for the Tonex as well, of course, which is what, you know, I like that they were trying to bring guitar players together and bring some artists together, do something creative, tie it in obviously with their, you know, with Tonex and all that, their product. But really, it was like such a fun week. We had some great meals. I feel like I made good new friends. And I took 2 days off at the end and went to Venice because I was close to Venice where their offices are. It was only short to maybe a 2-hour train ride or something. And I'd never been to Venice in all the years I've been traveling, going to Italy and stuff. Just never made it there. So I thought, I'm going to go to Venice for 2 days. Booked a hotel and had a nice little R&R. Ended up being a great idea. And just had so much fun. So that was my 2 trips to Italy over the last year or so. Because, yeah, that was about a year ago. It was September or October that I was with IK in Italy. And then there again with Satchvi. So hope to come back again soon, though, doing something. Morning face, heavy rotation always. Yeah, it's one for me that I don't want to overdo it. So it goes in and out of rotation for me. But there's times it's a great album to listen to on a drive, as long as you're not sleepy. If you've got some coffee and you're feeling good and you're, maybe going from LA to Vegas or something. And, it's like you're out there in the vast desert plains driving, you got 3 hours to kill, or whatever. It's a nice one for that drive, for example, or maybe going to Joshua Tree or something. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. I saw a clip this week of Pete with Chris doing In My Time of Dying. Might have been Facebook. Richard, yeah, that was something that he just would, every now and then, he would just take off on a jammy tangent. We didn't know he was going to do that. And he just started singing In My Time of Dying over seasons, and I loved when he did that. He would sometimes do other songs of his, but over like one time he was singing, maybe it was Overfloater or something, Soundgarden song that we'd never learned. And it was so cool. He would just like go into something and you'd be like, what is he doing? And then you just follow just go along for the ride and play musically. And so that's that clip of him singing In My Time of Dying. And I really liked it, how it came out. Somebody had filmed it, which was great. Those are the memories we've got now that we can look back on. Ben Coombs, thanks so much, says, don't forget to hit the like. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Yes, please do. The thumbs up would be great. Helps. Is that Germino a Headroom 100 with a bright cap? You know what? It does have a bright cap, I believe. Yeah. Because I think the bright cap is sort of part of the cool Jose thing. One thing about Jose's is that, so when this is the volume for the gain stage in front of the plexi circuit. You kind of want in on 10 or maybe a little lower. That's about, anywhere down here, it just gets weak and doesn't really do its thing. So with this gain stage is active, you turn it up quite high, either 10 or maybe on 9 or something like that. Sounds sort of the best. It's not a like all settings work sort of amp. It's just not. But now the volume 1, like the standard Marshall volume 1, the high treble channel, when you have it on 10, it's cool, but it's a little big and it's cool. And depending on the guitar you're playing, you might want it. But it also sounds really cool to turn it down to like 8 or 7, and the bright cap starts to come into play. And if this gain boost is on 10 or close to it, and then this channel is on like 7, you're still getting the distortion of a Marshall plexi preamp that you would on 7, that little AC/DC kind of gain. But when the bright cap comes in, it cleans things up a little and gives you a little attack and clarity. So you'll go from like a kind of, distorted and really big, but maybe not the tightest thing. You might want a little tighter. You just back this volume down. The gain goes down a hair, but you get this punch that comes through. That is a nice. I don't even know if it's a trade-off. It's just what you want, So that's why the bright cap on the because the bright cap, like I say, it's not an all sound kind of amp. It's really not. I think the bright cap works on the Jose style amp. I think it's a good thing to have. I do. Easily removable, though. You can try it without it, of course, or try a different value. Arthur says he's become addicted to tone chasing. It can happen. It can happen. Michael Nielsen's here somewhere. I haven't seen his comments, but you guys are responding to him. Hope he's doing well. Always great videos from Michael. Yep. I haven't seen, for some reason I'm missing his comments here, but I'll find one in a bit, hopefully. Oh, there he is. Talking to Chris. He says, PS2 has some extra function, giving you an effects loop. Prefer the PS2. So you're talking about the Power Station. I love the Power Station still, too. PS100 is the one that I'm still using, that I have here. I've been using the Reload 2. What do you think, Michael? What Reload 2 versus PS2 or versus Reload 2 versus the Fryettes? What's your opinion? Because I know you have both. You made videos and stuff. Yeah. If you're still here, I hope you're still here. 85 is the PAF and 81 is the hotter one. Yeah, so I have an 85 EMG in my guitar. That's right. Yeah. I think the Vox AC10 C1 combo is underrated. 10 watts, 16 ohm out to 2 notes capped are available. I'm in Milton Keynes at the Vox Marshall area. That's cool. I haven't tried that one. I haven't tried any recent Voxes, to be honest. Anything that they're doing recently. So I'm not sure what's out there. I do love a good Vox, though. It's a great sound, special sound. Yeah. Great sound. I like the stuff that Dan Huff has been putting out with Robert Baker. That's cool. I've seen a little bit, but not like really whole shows and stuff. But that's awesome. I love when guys are cool and give their, some of their secrets away, or at least tell, interviews with some of these legends are so valuable, I think. Because we're all just nerds. We want to know what's going on. What are your thoughts on a Hot Mod V2 versus a Jose mod? Similar, different? Different and similar. It's not the same sound for sure. I really like those Hot Mod things. They sound great. The Mr. Scary one's cool. I think I even prefer the regular one, the Hot Mod version 2. Just like a cool guitar sound. I don't know, but the Jose thing maybe is leaner and a little more of that like 80s thing. The Hot Mod might be a little more like, just for lack of a better, it's not a Bogner, but that like the Snorkeler thing or something. It might be a little more in that direction. I know it's not that. That's a very unique but it just reminds me more of that just kind of saturated, like one's a little more hair metal and one's a little more Jerry Cantrell or something. And I would say I don't know why I'm using that. It's not like Jerry uses either of those things, but I would say the Hot Mod is a little more the Jerry Cantrell, and that's just what comes to mind. The example that comes to mind. And then the Jose is a little more of that, 80s modded metal thing. That's what I think, if that makes sense. But I haven't put them back to back either. It's just from my memory of using them, Okay, what else we got here? Oh, finally saw McCartney in concert a few weeks ago. Both heartwarming and exciting to watch him. I'll say this though, the guy having the most fun is Abe. Yeah, Abe's a lovely guy, and he's just got a big heart, and it shows. He puts it all into the music. He's wonderful. Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. Oh, Scott says I sent you an email about the Black Floyd bar. Sorry, I forgot to look for that. I'm so bad at email sometimes, and I miss things. Let me take a look just right now. There you are. I see it now. I'm going to respond to you after the show. Got it open on my desktop. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Really kind of you. All right. Let's see. I'm going to go down to the bottom, see if Mark responded to my query about Reload 2 versus PS2 or PS100. Yeah. Reading through the community here always makes my Sundays better. Me too, man. Makes everything better, doesn't it? A little normalcy. Richard says that gave me the chills. I think you mean the In My Time of Dying, right? Yeah, the version. Yeah, I agree. I'd get the chills just playing it. I'd be like, ooh, this is badass right now. I had that often with him, like it's spur of the moment kind of improv stuff that, I love that Chris would be like, one thing he was really great at was just letting you be you. And he loved the whatever would happen in the moment when he gave people the floor to do their thing and then to just be a part of that, like in a great Zeppelin-y band. I mean, he comes from bands, so it makes sense, He wasn't a solo artist for a long time. He was in bands, He did Soundgarden and then did a solo record, but then went straight into Audioslave and was a member of things that are with strong personalities and collectives of musicians that, and I think he took that into his solo, like, even though when he went solo around 2006 and he was like, I don't want to do bands anymore right now. I want to do my own thing. I'm tired of bands. That was his vibe. Like when we did our thing, he wanted to run the show and be able to play music from his whole career and do what he wanted to do. And not have other people like, I think he was just tired of some of that, like the things that can happen in bands a little bit. It was just the moment he was at that particular time. But still, you can't take the guy out of what he knows completely, which is, he's been part of, units with personalities his whole life where he wasn't the boss. And I think he would just actually, it was great. Like in his, he would just let us be kind of who we were and be like, if he didn't like something, he would tell you, if he was like, can you do something completely different than that? But it was very rare. I mean, it was like under 10 times in the 3.5 years that I toured with him that he would be like, that thing is not working. Can you do something else? It was always like where he just let you do your thing. He'd never micromanage or do, it was always like, let it be, let's see what happens, and then like, because of course you're going to do things that he wouldn't think of because that's the way it is when you're working with people creatively. There's a little bit my point with the Wolf thing that I would just love to hear. I love what he does. I'd love to hear him do something though where he just lets it be, like all the chemistry of other people come into it to see what happens with his talent too, and how that'll, it's always a good thing, So anyways, that In My Time of Dying thing was, all I was doing was really playing the guitar part to Seasons, but the dynamic of it or whatever, and the way he came down, and he, in the video, you'll see him walk over to me and we just kind of vibe on it. And I'm like, what's going on? Right? Like, where's he? I thought we were going to go into the last verse or whatever, and end the song. And then he goes into this thing and it was like, just keep it stony and hypnotic on the guitar. And that's where we were at in that moment or whatever. And there would be times where, we would go off and go into extended freak out psychedelic jams or something, and just see what happens. I remember playing, I did a private show with him with a different band. I did 2 of these gigs at the Roxy in LA. And it was some of the so fun gigs that I got to play with him, like some of the last shows. And in particular, the first one I remember doing, Jurgen Carlson, who was the bass player in Government Mule forever, played bass on the gig. And at one point we were playing Reach Down by Temple of the Dog, and he looked at Jurgen and just kind of, we did this breakdown in the middle, and we didn't know what was going to happen. It's not like we'd worked it out. We'd barely rehearsed for the gig. A lot of it was just us learning the songs and just going for it. And I picked players for it because I MD'd it really. So I put together Blair Santa, great drummer, who plays with Fits and the Tantrums now, and Jurgen, and it was like, let's just explore. Like, we got to the middle section, this breakdown and Reach Down. Let's see what happens. And Chris kind of motioned towards Jurgen, like, go, take it, just do anything, you know. And I remember Jurgen looking at him and going like, okay. And he like leaped from the back of the stage to his pedal board and hit like phase 90 in a fuzz or something and just started to do this stuff that was like so badass because he's a great bass player. And I just remember Chris just sort of standing back and like his face just lit up, like he was so stoked, you know. That was one of the moments that made him actually want to do it again later, I think, was let's put that band back together. That was really fun, like that particular group of people. And I always remember Jurgen doing that, like jumping and hitting the phase 90 and the fuzz, and then just doing something like he can get really aggressive on the bass, do this kind of fuzzed out stuff or reverb. He's not afraid to use effects. And I remember that moment and just the look on Chris's face. And I was like, I was into it too. I was like, because he's stoked, and he would just foster that kind of stuff and just let you go as long as it was cool, you know, as long as then he let you wind it up whenever you knew to wind it up and move on. Anyways, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Given the choice, which do you find more fun to play in here, playing and hearing raw speaker cab in the room or hearing a mic cab and stereo with effects? Ooh, it's like, it's really hard. Sometimes when I'm sitting in here, I do get like a little, like, I'm like, oh, this is amazing luxury having amps here that I can all hear at a nice volume and everything, and it's great. And then other times I'm like, man, it's been weeks or months since I've played through the cab, like that I can hear in the same room, and it's just a different experience. My ears don't put up with it as long anymore, you know, the volume and you know, I guess I could use an attenuator and keep it low through a cab and everything. There are times in here where even when I'm getting ready for a tour, like I'll use Suhr reactive loads and stuff and run my amps into the monitors, and then I'll set up effects and all my sounds and learn songs and stuff just through the studio monitors, but using the real amps. And it's cool, but there's times where I just go, you know, I just want to hear the amps, and I bring a couple 112s in here. And I think I've shown you guys that before, but I'll set up the cabs and then actually use the real amps in here just at a lower volume. And the nice thing about a PT100 is the master's great, so I can turn them way down and play through the cabs, because you just want to feel what it sounds like coming right out of the guitar speaker sometimes. So I guess it's both. If I don't play through a cab for a while, I do miss it, and I kind of feel like I need to get back to it for that kind of back to the source sort of reference or something. Yeah. Are you going to go see Spinal Tap? Yeah. Is it out yet? I kind of lost track of it, actually. I forgot about it. I guess going to Japan, I kind of just lost my perspective on that a little bit, on when it's coming out, or did it already happen, or I'm not sure, actually. Michael says he likes the Reload 2 for studio and Power Station for live. That's cool. Interesting. Yeah, I guess if you're mono, you know, then it's I guess if you're stereo, you would probably use the Reload 2 live, right? I used the Reload 2 in kind of a, not necessarily super unique, but I used it for a Royal Machines gig I did with those guys a while ago in Vegas, just as a power amp for a Quad Cortex. And I ran out into, I only ran mono on that. I ran one side into a 412, and but it worked good for that. It was cool. Which of the Marshall 20-watt tube amps is the best to add to my mini collection? There are so many. I mean, the Plexi to me is great. You know, the 800's cool and stuff, but I would just get a Plexi. The SV20. It's a great version of that sound that doesn't, you know, rip your head off with volume. I mean, it's still loud because it doesn't have a master, but you could easily have a good tech put a post-phase inverter master on it or something, and then use it. And it's just cool. So, and hi, Pete, says Michael. Hey, man, what's up? How are you? Any thoughts on the new Friedman Jose? Well, we were talking about it quite a bit earlier because I was mentioning that I might want to get one and maybe sell this amp so that I've got Dave's ultimate version of that thing. That's basically what I bought this to be. But I don't have like a sentimental bond with this amp or anything. I bought it as a, it sounds great. You've heard it before on my stuff. But I just kind of might want Dave's pure version of all the features and everything that he thinks, in an amp, like with his choice of transformers and everything. I think it might be a good thing to have. Yeah. There's something to be said for like, you can do a Jose mod on an old Marshall, like, and it's probably pretty cool, some of them like, pretty, but maybe the amp wasn't a cool, or what I mean, like components have drifted, old ones, whatever. To have Dave's version, like the old amp might not sound better, is what I'm getting at, And sometimes it's almost like buying a you could get a guitar, that's a Strat, then have Suhr modify it, with all the things that he thinks a Strat should have, with all the mods and everything. Or you could just get a Suhr guitar that's built, with all the stuff in mind from scratch. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad analogy, but maybe it's a good analogy. Yeah. Yeah. PS2 has big tube headroom, but I prefer the load and the reload. Yeah, it's true. It's sort of, I still feel like nobody has the perfect all-in-one, So that's still something that needs to come around. Like, I'll talk about load box reamp. I just picked up the Vox Brian May VB1 combo as part of a package deal. It's cool. What's that? Vox Brian May VBM1. What the heck is that? Never heard of it. Vox V. I remember the Brian May combo from years ago. So it's just like a 1 watt Brian May special amplifier at low volumes. What is it? Like a tiny little, is this sort of like that little amp that he used to record with? Yeah, how do you say that? DC Decky? I've never known how you say that. He used to use one to record. It's like a little mini version. That's cool. That's neat. Tiny little thing, isn't it? It's not tube, obviously. It's a solid state thing. So was the original, right? I kind of want to get a Brian May model guitar, his model. You see him in Japan quite a bit. I'd like to get one someday. Be a good thing to have around, I think. Stu says, when you're in London next year, let me know. I'm going to be in a studio flat north of Thames in London. It'd be great to meet up. You can drink coffee. I'll drink beer. And I'm not having a beer. I'm not against that. Yeah. What time is it? About 1:30. Let's stick around another, 20 minutes, something like that, 25. And then go and carry on with my fun day of, for those joining late, why am I drinking clear fluids? And feeling a little lightheaded because I haven't had any food today. That's right. It's time for the 5-year anniversary colonoscopy. Good times. I mentioned earlier, for those that are just joining, I mentioned it because just as a public service announcement, you should do one when you get to be advanced in years like myself. It's a good thing. Go for your screenings. Get them done. Make sure you're good. What ticks for the High Water Festival in Charleston as a Christmas gift for the family? What's the High Water Festival? Who plays at that? I don't know. Tell us about it. Moving through the chat. Let's see. I'm pretty far back, so I'm going to move down a little bit. Have you seen the Air Step foot controller for Tone X1 and pedal allows deep editing via Bluetooth app? Interesting. I'm familiar with those Air Step things. I remember seeing one a while ago, and I just kind of like tune out a little bit with like the apps and guitar and I don't know. I'm kind of like, I want to do it all on the thing these days. I don't mind computer editors. I'll say that, but I actually hate opening up my phone and editing things while I'm at a rehearsal. I feel like the boss, whoever that is, always thinks like I'm texting when I should be rehearsing. And I just don't like the Bluetooth thing with guitar gear. I personally, I just want to do it in a, like every day when I've been in Japan at rehearsals leading up to the first few shows. I had my computer open with my editor for my 10D Musicom Lab switcher, as well as the VP4 editor open on the laptop, and I just put it on a little stand in front of me. And then anytime I needed to make changes to the effects, I could do it in the computer. That I don't mind, the computer editors, but the phone Bluetooth thing, I don't know. But that's just me, That's not reflective on it. If you like it, that's awesome. I'm sure it's a great product, and I'm a little more. It's like I'm regressing a little bit these days as far as I just want simpler, on it with everything. I feel like the passage of time, and I feel like I want to spend less time with apps and computers and phones and more time just playing and turning knobs if I'm going to change things. That's just kind of where I'm at on it. Can anybody else relate, or am I just lazy? Michael, you're the best, man. Thanks for the super chat. Can you remember recommend a moderately priced guitar wireless under $1,000? Well, Suhr makes great stuff, man. I mean, the GX, what's it called? The GLX, this one, that one right here. So it's really quite good, but I don't recommend that you. Having said that, I don't recommend you try and use it. I mean, the guy from Deep Purple does. I know that, but this one, I wouldn't use it on a pro level tour. I mean, maybe club gigs and stuff like that. Cool, but I know they don't even recommend it. They're like, look, it works in the cell phone band range as well as the 5.8 gigahertz or whatever outside of the cell phone range, as opposed to traditional wireless, which is down in the 600 megahertz or 500 or whatever range. It's a different thing, the way that this works. It's a tuner as well as mute, as well as wireless receiver. Works really good. Sounds great. I've done a review on it, but they even say, you're going to want to be careful because wireless it's a whole thing, So I use Accient, which is going the other way with it. It's the most expensive one they make. It's like a $4,000 minimum unit. The reason I use it is because I know I can use it anywhere on earth, and that it's going to work. And there's no dropouts. And I think I had one little thing once at a gig 4 years ago where I was like, was that a wireless? And it passed so quickly that it was not a big deal. So having said all this, what I would say is what you're going to want to do. Suhr on their website has a pretty good tool to help with this. You can go and sort of enter in information about your location, where you are, where you're going to be using the wireless. And I think it'll almost recommend a system. There's like a wire. It's on their website. And because part of the thing is frequencies and, bandwidth or whatever, and all this, where you are, where you're traveling, it tells you what you're going to need. And, it can recommend systems and show you like whether one system would be better over another. So it quickly gets very confusing, I know, looking at wireless. Suhr guitar wireless. And a lot of it is to do with like, okay, the GLX, let's look at that. Dual band. Like this would be probably the one I would recommend. It's GLX dual band. It comes with a guitar pack. I'm seeing it on American Musical Supply for $719. Basically all their digital wireless sounds the same. Like, it's converters and all that are so cheap these days that you can get a great sounding one that sounds basically really similar or exactly the same or whatever as an Accient. It's not, it's a 24-bit 96K signal converted that gets, converted to analog on the other end and comes out as, your guitar sound. And so it's not like the old days where you've got to take into account companders and expanders and all this stuff that with analog wireless due to FCC rules, it was like you could, there was about 30 or 40 dB of dynamic range. That was it. And then you had to use electronics to kind of compensate for that. So the way the wireless would respond to your guitar volume controls and stuff could be weird. And so whether you went with a Samson or a Nady or whatever the stuff of the day there was all these concerns. Nowadays with like Suhr digital wireless or Sennheiser digital wireless, I think you're going to find that as long as they're gain staged like a cable, that they're all sounding pretty similar and good and really pure. The downside, of course, you're buffered right out of the guitar. If that's a downside, maybe it's a good thing for some people. But you might notice it's a brighter sound sometimes, often than using a 20-foot cable or something. If you're just using a 10-foot cable, you might not notice much difference. But just my point being that it's all about your application, where you're going to use it, and as far as the range goes and stuff like that, of frequencies that are selectable. That's the big concern. This one actually, GLX. This is interesting. See, this is a GLX system at 719. I'm looking at it online, GLX D14R. It actually works in the 2.4 and 5.8 ranges as well. Okay, so it's a rack mount version of what I just showed you. That's what this is. Yeah, it's a rack mount version of I was more thinking about a little bit more of the typical, not the GLX series, but maybe don't they have one called SLX? And I'm going to take a look here. Let me just do a little more research into this. Not the GLX series, I guess, is the designation they use for the ones that work in the 2.4 and 5.8 gigahertz ranges. And then they've got some other digital wireless. Let's look and see. I was in Chrome, which I never use, and that was screwing me up, I think. Suhr Guitar Wireless Systems. SLX. Okay, so the SLX looks like it might be a good option. Yeah, it works in the 470 to 514 megahertz range. Yeah. QLX is another one. And there's we're looking at some similar prices, and you got to go do a little bit of research. But I would say the ones that you want to look at are the SLX and the QLX. Kind of they're both sort of half rack things that you can get a rack mount kit for. The BLX is their analog one, I think. It's not digital, so I wouldn't go that route. I would go for the, it looks like give or take $1,000, pretty close to it. Here's an SLX with a pack and a microphone. Looks like the SLX kind of, there's so many, you get in here and it gets confusing. Wireless guitar. Okay, 719 the SLX is. Now, so here's the question. This is the last thing I'll say about it. 514 to 558 megahertz. I think you can get them with different spec ranges. So like you can order one. This one's called the H55. It's confusing as hell, right? SLX D14 wireless guitar system, H55 band, which means that it works between 514 and 558 megahertz. So you can look for a frequency anywhere within there. What you're going to want to make sure is that for your application, that's okay. Like between 514 to 558, because this is the thing that Axion will give you, as far as I know. It gives you a much wider range of like frequencies that you can tune to and find it's kind of anywhere in the world, whereas if you're traveling just within the United States or something, 514 to 588, 558 it is, the H55 band, they call that might be just fine. But if you go to England and you're like, great, I'm going to take my wireless, they might be like, nope, you can't use it over here because you need different range. Does that make sense? So that's the thing. And in which case you're going to want to just rent one from the local backline company, when you travel overseas to do a tour or something. Yeah. So hopefully that makes sense. But so within that SLX range, you're going to be, it says SLX D14 H55 band. I think you'll be able to get ones in different bands, Here's one called the H9 band, H11 band. That's from 572 to 596. You got to do a little research and figure out, what you need for the region of the country. The J11 band is 596 to 614 megahertz. Isn't this used to be easier? People just used to get a Schaefer Vega and just rock it. FCC be damned. Can't do that these days. Okay. Have you heard anything about the Eminence Carnivore? A little bit. Yeah, I was talking about it with Friedman the other day. Like a better V30. I'd like to try it. I'd like to give it a go, see what it sounds like. But I just was talking to Friedman about it the other day. I've got a speaker to try here. I've been meaning to do it, and I'm going to get to that this week. Do you want to see it? Shall I show it to you? Let me grab it. I think I spoke about it last week. The Schultz Sugar Cone. Nice gentleman that sent me this has been waiting for me to check it out. It's built like a brick shit house. There it is. So they make a couple different versions of this. 12-inch guitar speaker. Might be made in Florida, I think. Could be wrong about that. But it's a 100-watt speaker, 8 ohms. I'm going to load it in a 112 and then listen to it next to, like I've got a, M75 and I think a V30 loaded in a Suhr 112. So I'll load it up in a Suhr 112 and give it a go. But these sugar cone speakers, Schultz sugar cones, do a little looking if you're interested. They have a, kind of cool reputation, and they make two different versions of it. Now it's kind of a reissue of a speaker that came out a while ago, a number of years ago. But they make two different versions, and this is the one with the ribbed cone, kind of the standard sort of guitar speaker cone. They also make one with a smooth cone that's supposed to be less distortion or speaker, very, what I mean, like the weird kind of stuff that a guitar speaker has, all those crazy peaks and valleys. It's supposed to be less of that, be a little more neutral, I think is the word. But they sent me the kind of the most sort of vintage style one to check out. So I'm going to give it a go this week. Okay. What else we got here? Will you go to see Rush next year? Yeah, I got tickets. They are on my phone because that's the way we do things now. We've got, let's see, where are they? Where's my Rush ticket? Got them in here for next year. Isn't that cool? Look at that. There's my Rush tickets. Kind of nosebleedy. Not great, but who cares? Let me go see Rush. Third show in LA is the one that I'm going to. Yeah. Then if it's great, I can always pick another show down the road and go see him again. They're playing in my hometown. I thought that'd be fun to go see him there. Take a trip home or something. Get a ticket. Okay. I heard some bad reviews of Spinal Tap 2, says Todd. So it already came out. It did, eh? Hard to top the original. I haven't seen anything about it, to be honest, since I was in Japan. But that's part of what I like about going to Japan is I lose track of everything going on and everywhere else in the world, which is a good thing. Yeah. Okay. Don't forget to smash that like, says Mark. Agree. Hit it. Ooh, I went to a great show this week. I saw Black Rebel Motorcycle Club on their current tour, their Howl tour. It's like an anniversary of the Howl album. If you're a fan of them, try and catch them. I don't know how many more gigs they're doing. I think they're almost done with this tour, I think. But ooh, it was really good. Man, they're such a good band. They play together like a band that's been together for 30 years. So good. Got to keep those electrolytes pounding. Exactly. That's what keeps you from losing your mind when you're in the state I'm in. My niece says I'm drinking a beer right now. Dude, have at it. I think you should do it. Pete's got connections for Rush tickets. You know, there is one that I could have tried, but I just got in the pre-sale line and did it. I was actually in Japan. They went on sale at noon on whatever day it was, a couple 3 weeks ago. And that was the equivalent of 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning Japan time. And I set my alarm, and I had a rehearsal the next day, the last rehearsal before our first show. I set my alarm and woke up in Japan. And like, in the middle of the night, like, I still needed more sleep after that. Luckily, it only took about a half an hour. I got in the pre-sale line. I was 6,000 people in front of me or something by the time it went online. I think I got in there 15 minutes early or something. And then I was only on for about another 20 minutes. And then my spot in line came up. I found a couple tickets that weren't, they were expensive, but they weren't obscene, like, $1,000 or something. It was more like $600. And I just bought them, and then I went back to sleep. It's a crazy amount of money, like, for a ticket to a show, but I wasn't going to miss it. So, yeah. I could work some angles and try and go, but with, different people and stuff. But I kind of like just, it's fun to just get in line and buy tickets and go to things and be a fan and not try and, like, let me see if I can hit up someone for passes and all that. Like, to just kind of, I miss, like, there's a big part of me that misses, like, just doing, like, lining up for shows or lining up, like the way we used to line up for tickets in the, like I used to go to my local ticket office at, like, midnight, and my parents, this is because I'm a Gen X kid, they'd let me sleep out there overnight. I was like 13 years old or something, 14, 15 years old, staying out on the pavement outside a shopping mall overnight with a sleeping bag. That was just kind of thing, right? It's like, would you do that? Would you let your kid do that now? Like, no way in hell. And most of the, and in Japan, it'd be fine. But yeah, and then I'd get up in the morning, no sleep, or very little, and go inside, and you'd have 4 people in front of you, and then you get up to the counter, and what can I get? I want a floor seat, like that one, 7th row, sort of in the middle. Awesome. So I did that for Rush tickets once. I've told the story on here, and I got my best tickets that I ever got lining up for tickets, which was 2nd row floor center. And that show got canceled. And that would have been the first time I ever saw Rush. It was weather. The trucks couldn't make it. It was a big snowstorm in Edmonton. Trucks couldn't get there. The band was in town, but trucks didn't make it. And the next time I saw them, they had to cancel that show. They never rescheduled it on that tour. Sucks. And I just got a refund for the tickets. That was like one of those wait out all night things, and it was just like a big waste of time. So I saw them on the Presto tour a few years after that. That was the Power Windows tour that I got tickets for and never saw. Yep. Okay. Anyway, I'm nostalgic about those times, so I kind of like doing things that way still. You know what I mean? Like buying, just like I still like going to Guitar Center or what. Like I like going to music stores and going in and get all the stuff that we did when we were kids. Still, I don't know, just takes me back. Yeah. Sorry to hear you're not 100%. Well, I feel pretty good, actually, all things considered. But how do you handle a day like that on the road? Here's my advice when it comes to that is don't get stressed out about being sick, jet lagged, any of that stuff. The stress just makes you worry, and it always seems to work out. Like, there's obviously cases of people, burning out and, falling off stages or like whatever. But in my experience anyway, I always get through a gig with It's like you can be like, holy like I'm really tired or really like I got a wicked cold. Man, I've had to do gigs. I remember a few years ago getting the flu with Classic Rock Show and doing our, whole like 2.5 hour show or whatever, really ill, like just feeling like, it was like I couldn't hear right, I couldn't whatever. But there's something happens when you get on stage where an adrenaline thing kicks in and it just brings you up to normal. I got food poisoning once, and I had a one-off with Don Henley in San Antonio, and the only time I felt normal that whole like 3 days of that trip surrounding was on stage. I felt pretty normal actually because of the adrenaline. I got through the show. It was a pretty good show. I was a mess. I mean, I was sick as I've ever been the day before. Just, you don't even want to hear the details, but it was, I got food poisoning and I was really messed up. And the next day I did the show and I remember going like, isn't this amazing that I'm like getting through this, like on the stage, like actually felt pretty good. And then after the gig for about an hour, I felt pretty good, or an hour and a half. I was like, man, maybe it's like clearing out. Maybe I'm getting better, Next morning, I was still screwed up, like felt really like I almost threw up on the car on the way to the airport. I don't know how I got home. Strange thing was, by the time I got home after that, I remember flying back from Dallas to LA. By the time I hit the ground in LA, I had fallen asleep on the plane, managed to, thank God, get asleep. And I remember going, oh, I feel a lot better. Like, and by 4:00 that day back in LA, I was like 95% better. It's just like food poisoning. It just, goes away all of a sudden. But yeah, what a trip. But yeah, I just remember like being like on stage and feeling like I'm maintaining right now. Like, and so maybe it's experiences like that we're like, well, I can do anything, like where if I'm just tired, that's no big deal or whatever, you just get up there and do it. I don't know. And if you worry about it too much, it makes it worse. So that's one thing. Just don't worry about it. Nap when you can, try and eat what you can, do whatever you need to do, like to get yourself, and then just get up there on that stage and play those damn songs. Yeah. All right. Eat foods with fiber or take Bina fiber for your colon health. Advice from Jim. Can you see the VP4 replacing in the loop pedal on your big board? Yeah, I could use the VP4 to do just about anything I need to do. Now, like with Satchvi, for instance, I have some interesting patches going on using the ST3000 and the H90, and I wouldn't really want to go back and try and recreate those things. I think it would be a pain in the ass. So I'm just going to keep with I'm going to stick with my big board for Classic Rock Show and for Classic Rock Show. I'll think about. Maybe I'll try the VP4 board this year. It might make it a little easier as far as, just flying and stuff like that. But yeah, so we'll see. I'm not sure, but I've got a lot of once you're already programmed up with H90 and stuff like that, you don't want to blow that all out the window, start over again. I'm tired of starting over programming sounds for the same songs again. Okay. There's Chris with the super chat. Thanks, man. You get a great sounding rig together, only to have it not sound good in a particular rehearsal space. Yeah, sure. I've had that. That's a thing. Nowadays with in-ears, I guess that's one advantage is like your rig kind of sounds the same in the ears because it's close mic'd, more than ever. But yeah, that's a total, rooms can definitely. I remember talking with some people about like plexis and stuff and saying, like, Steve Stevens was making a point once about old plexis and loud amps and how it can sound great one day and then the next day it's like, what happened? I think a lot of that is just to do with volume and the unpredictability of a different room and how the amp is responding to the stage. It could be a hard stage one day, the next day you might be on a stage with carpet, and the amp could sound very different depending, especially with that level of volume of something like a plexi and a really loud guitar sound, in a different ambient, ringy, boxy or whatever sounding room, or maybe it's a very good sounding room the next day, or maybe you're playing outside, maybe you're used to hearing the amp bounce off the wall and being, echoey in a room. And then you get outside and all of a sudden it sounds dry as hell and kind of not as loud because the sound just goes away out into the air. And all those things become more of a factor with something like a lower gain, like a plexi, vintage, loud kind of amp. I think the room comes into play even more. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I've got about 2 hours, so I'll hang another 5 minutes or so, and then I'm gonna jet. But JTM 45 versus SV20. I'm more of the vintage SV20 than JTM 45. A 45 to me is a cool amp, but always up to a point. They're a bit of a one-trick pony in some ways to me. I always want them to be a little leaner and a little tighter. So that's why I like lead circuit amps, But, you're getting into, Black Crow's distortion or something, or that kind of, it can be a great thing, like a JTM 45. But I always just feel like they're a little soft and a little flubby for me. I just want it to sound like a lead circuit amp, even an 87, like a, 1987, like in other words, the 50 watt plexi spec 68, like that amp, great to me. Always just it's a little leaner, a little tighter, solid state rectifier, slightly different circuit with a little more upper treble cut, a little less flub in the bass. Yeah. Yeah. There's Peter. Thanks for the super chat, Peter. Enjoying your Fab Sunday show from Kaanapali, hanging in Maui. That's nice, man. Thank you, sir. Videos this week. Have a great time out there, Peter. I got fond memories of being a kid there, and I used to go there for vacation with my folks. So have a really fun time. Hope you dig it. Go down to McKenna Beach. I love that down there in Wailea. It's a beautiful stretch of sand. And good times. You're not at all far from my parents used to rent a house there in a place called Aleloa Properties, which is just north of their little, gated neighborhood where, there were some houses that you could rent. This is pre-Airbnb back in the day, pre a long time. But we used to rent a house up there. And if you looked on a map, you would find that Aleloa, still called this. I think it's still called that. And it's probably about 5 or 10 minutes from where you are now, 10-minute drive. They have a nice private beach up there that I used to just love hanging on when I was a kid, just go swimming every day and have a great time. So, yeah. Okay. I'm going to make sure I don't have any more super duper chats here. I don't think I do. And I think I'm going to get, there's a lot of more comments. It was busy today. It was good. 262. Got almost the most people that I've had online for the whole show right now. Should I go? Did you look into the Howard Benson vocal plugin and the whisper singing trick? I haven't. No. You say you like it a lot, huh? Howard Benson vocal plug. Well, what is it about it? Howard Benson vocal plug-in. Joey Sturgis tones. What does this thing do? Of course, like a stupid ad popped up. I don't want to see that. Let's see. Voice generation software. It's got pitch modulation, tone. It looks like it adds parts, so like harmonies and stuff. Saturation, vocal density, multiplier volume. So it's just kind of like an automatic doubling sort of situation. Gives you an all-in-one tool. It can go from a single vocal take to hundreds of vocal layers in seconds. Not only does it sound convincing, well, there's some audio examples here. I'll give it a listen. It also gives you insane control over the mix of all those layers via saturation, compression, reverb. So you can sound like Def Leppard instantly, it sounds like. Maybe. I'm gonna check it out. I want to hear it. That's pretty cool. I like that. All right. Chris Sandy saw Tesla, or Chuck, excuse me. Tesla play a gig in the 90s, wintertime. Both guitarists had the flu. They still killed it, puking off stage between songs. Yeah, that happens. That can happen. Yep. Very rough. Saw Rush on the Moving Pictures tour about 8 rows back, many memories and stories. Yeah, I never saw them that far back. First I saw them was Presto, and then I saw them a couple times in the 2000s. I think once at the Hollywood Bowl. Yeah. What about Orange Amps? I like them. There's a great video with Rhett Shull and Rick Beato, and Rick's got obviously a bit of a affinity for them, and I learned a lot from the video. If you haven't seen it, so search those guys in the Orange Amp video, you'll find it. He goes through the different models and says, this one, and this is the one you really want, and shows why. And it's like, I learned a lot because I don't know that much about them, and I could probably see one in a pawn shop or something, go down the wrong street by buying something that wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So it's a good venue, just educational, or sorry, a good video is what I was trying to say. Good video. Okay. JTM 45 can have nice scoop dirty cleans. Yeah, up to a point. I mean, a JTM 45 up to 5 or 6 on the volume, and it gets a little crunchy and it does a thing, and maybe with a lower output guitar, some P90s or PAFs or Telly or something, and it's got a cool crunch. That's what I mean, like a Black Crowes kind of vibe. But just anytime I try and get it into a more rock thing, like a hard rock thing, and I'm not going to go there. I don't think so. Yeah. Thought you've had more people on your streams. I can see the number, and sometimes I'll get up. Generally speaking, if there's 300 people, that's a pretty good show for me at a time. And then a lot of people will end up rewatching later. Lately, there's been a few less, and that tends to happen when I go away and when the show becomes less consistent. I'll notice a drop off in viewers, and it's also just, it's like I've been doing this for a lot of years, so I don't know if the show's as popular as it once was. I certainly still enjoy it, and I don't really worry about stuff like that when it comes to YouTube. I'm not really in it as a popularity contest or to be the biggest channel or anything. I never was. That said, it'd be nice to get to 300,000 subscribers. I'm getting there. What am I about? 250. I think it's, let's see, where am I at right now? I've been wanting to get it there. 280. It's even, 280, 654. So I got less than 20,000 to go to get to 300, and that would be a nice milestone. I feel like 300K. Yeah. Tom says, thanks, Pete. Thanks, everybody, for making Sunday a fun hang. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. As long as we're here. It's a tight group, but it's a good group. It's a quality group of folks. I appreciate these streams where we can all meet. Me too. Maybe one of these days we can all meet up, like NAMM show. Hey, that's a great idea. I'm not going to be at NAMM this year, unfortunately, but following year I should be. But I won't make it this year. I've got gigs over that whole weekend with Classic Rock Show, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm so looking forward to going back to England and playing with my friends. And we've got some gigs in Europe too. Getting back to it, we got some fun stuff this year. If you're over in the UK, some song ideas, and I think it's going to be a really fun set. I really appreciate my friends in Classic Rock Show and miss those guys and stuff. And every year I look forward to getting back over there and doing it. So, yeah. I hope you have a great week, says Richard. Crazy Tube Circuit demo from this week didn't come up. All the best to everyone. So check it out if you haven't seen it or it didn't show up in your feed. Crazy Tube Circuit's Venus demo. It's basically a Chandler tube driver with some added features. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Give it a like and a share and all that stuff if you don't mind. Keeps things going and will help me get to those 300,000 subscribers. Yeah. Okay. That's it. Any suggestions on how to use the Beano Boost? That's the last thing I'll take. Basically, I think the Beano is a range master, right? So use it in front of a Marshall into the input 2, like a plexi style amp, but not into the amp with or into the channel with the bright cap. You do that, but it's a little like searing. Into the input 2 or into a Vox normal channel is absolutely exceptional. Treble booster into a neutral, kind of a dark, fat amp sound with a range master, the Beano Boost, and you get a beautiful tone. It just filters a bunch of low end out, adds gain, does it in a gritty germanium transistor kind of way, and it just sounds like the heavens part, and it's a wonderful sound. So try that. Never into a bright amp though, or an amp with a bright cap, or that it tends to not work with treble boosters. It's just too much treble. All right, guys, have a terrific week, and thanks so much for being here and for all your great contributions, questions, and your super chats. I really appreciate it. Far too kind. I'll check out that vocal multiplier plugin, and I think it's Scott with the tremolo arm. I'll read your email, get back to you, do all that stuff now, and I'll see you guys next week. Next week I'll have a show, same time, same place, and then I'll be back in Japan the following few days after that. So we'll see about the following week. But next week we'll be here. We'll be here at the same time, same place. Good stuff. Wish me luck tomorrow. Yeah. And I'll see you guys soon. Rock on. Thanks again. Take care.